We're finally here with the latest and final part of the Blue Lock project video that I've been making. Apparently, after I make this video, I will be saying something at the end of the video for the next few review arcs. And so I will be making this one. We are going to be covering the two arcs that the second season ended up covering, which are the tryouts and also the under 20 match. I hope you all enjoy this video because I am trying my best to be able to make more videos like this with this brand new mic that I got as well. So without further ado, cue my special intro, please. Switch it up, cool me. Switch it up, cool me. Switch it up, you wanna do on and on again. Set it up, the third selection arc begins with the Blue Lock players talking with Ego, explaining that he's planning on trying to make a specific team to be able to take on the under 20 team that's going to represent for Japan's World Cup. And so he ends up training them in the third selection to be able to build a team to rival against Japan's under 20 team for it. And so the selection will begin with six players being able to become the captains for all of these. One's the captain, and the other one's the second one as well. And the six players that were here, first player obviously being Itoshi Rin, second is Shido Ryusei, a character I brought up in the previous video, and we're gonna talk to him and know about him as well eventually in the later on this arc. Third place goes to Karasu, fourth place Otoya, fifth place Yukimiya, and also sixth place now being Nagi Seishiro, and Bachida as well being a runner-up. All these six players will be the ones who will be running to be able to secure and have positions for these teams. It will be these two of each of the six players that were selected will be making teams to be able to do all of this. And so the first one, Isugi will be teaming up with Rin and Shido to be able to build and be able to continue with the selection. And the first match that we pretty much get to see is Isugi teaming up with Shido and also with Hiyori and also Nanase, who was a character that we will not really know much about. But he's a character that's just there with Hiyori and Isugi as just like a really good trio of heartwarming guys. And so eventually Isugi and all the others train, and we begin with what we're going to be seeing. And we start off with the ball going over towards Shido and Isagi and all the others being able to keep up with all of them. Eventually, Karasu ends up basically learning and studying all of Isagi's abilities and calling him just an average player. Until eventually, while the ball is heading over to the goal and near the penalty area, Shido ends up kicking it, and we get to see why Shido is easily the second best player in the series because of the fact that he's able to literally get anywhere in the goal. That's his ability. He's able to kick a ball and be able to go to score anywhere in the areas, even in the penalty zones. Eventually, we move straight forward and we get to see how Karasu's incredible ability. His incredible ability is his incredible knowledge, being able to study his opponents and being able to build prepping plans to take them on. And he ends up taking this and defeating both Shido and Isagi as well. And not only that, we end up seeing as well also how incredibly strong another player that we have on the team as well is, which of course being Otoya, who his special ability allows him to be able to sneak. His main ability is sneaking behind the opponents, making sure that they don't catch him, so he can be able to score off and score a goal, as well as since that happens too. We also get to see like Rin scoring a goal too. But the main focus about this is that the teams that are going up against them. Apparently, Isagi's trying his best to keep up with everybody, but then he realizes that he has to be able to give into his emotions. As both teams make it to 4 points each, Isagi thinks that in order for him to win this batch, in order for him to complete it as well, he's going to have to give into all of his emotions and instincts and his body to be able to follow what he's trying to do. And before that, as soon as he already kicks the ball over to him, e- 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 to over a part where I think probably Shido and Rin are supposed to be in, Isagi jumps in with the last second to land the final score that they needed to be able to finish the first match. But still, there was also a moment where Rin and Shido couldn't really get along with each other. But there isn't really much to talk about in all these other matches except for this one. All we know from later on with this is that we don't really see many of these matches. The only thing that we see from all of these is just like I think one with Nagi and Yukimiya, but that one doesn't really do much either way because it just shows that Shido and Rin don't really work together. Heck, they literally fight and Shido's about to almost beat the living crap out of Rin until Ego uses a special taser to be able to put them down immediately since he was able to put Shido down with that. Apparently he has it in his jerseys. I don't know why Ego's doing this, but eventually, Ego ends up basically telling them that they're all ready for the under 20 arc and Japan is going to begin. So, overall, this arc was, I guess, a pretty good starting arc for this series. I'm pretty much going to give this like probably a, I guess, 7 out of 10. The only reason why I give it this score is because me personally, I feel like that this arc had a lot, but it didn't really give us like as many things to explore with some of these characters. I really want to understand a little bit more about Karasu and Otoya because these guys just feel like characters that we see, but we don't really get to know much about them or Shido as well. But that's just my video for this one, and that's just personally my perspective on this. So we're gonna move on to the next arc, which is personally my favorite arc in all of Blue Lock, the under 20 arc. The under 20 arc begins with Ego announcing the 11 players that will be taking on the Japanese under 20 team. The captain, of course, for this team being Rin, since he's the best player of the team and also the best player in Blue Lock. The goalkeeper will be Gagamaru for his flexible body. The center backs will be both Nico and RU because RU's incredible height allows him to stop goals, and Nico's incredible stealing ability and his great mind will allow him to make better plays and stop the goals too from even happening. The wingbacks for the team will be Chigiri and Bachida. Chigiri for his speed, Bachida for his dribbling. The defensive midfielder will be Karasu for how incredibly intelligent his mind is. And the two wing attackers are going to be both Otoya and Yukimiya. Otoya is well known for his ninja dribbling, and Yukimiya is known for being the emperor of one-on-ones in Blue Lock. Then the two center fielders that are next to Rin will be Nagi for his great ball control, and the person that will be Rin's optimal partner on the team will be none other than Isagi Yoichi. And with that, we finally got the team for the Blue Lock 11. And so apparently, Yukimiya also ended up explaining why isn't Shido part of the team? Well, it's because Ego ends up explaining that he said that, well, Shido wasn't really working well with everybody, and he ended up almost fighting with Rin and was captured and put into lockdown. And so he was going to be a last resort character for the under 20 team, but eventually we also ended up getting news that Sai Itoshi was going to be playing for the under 20 team. And so he said that in order for Sai to participate, he wanted to grab someone from Blue Lock, and that person ended up becoming Shido. And so Shido will be going up against the Blue Lock team by participating with the under 20 team. And so it begins. The under 20 team pretty much I'm only going to speak about like three characters here, which is going to be Sai, Sendo, and Ryu. Not Ryu, but Akainu. My bad for that. Because those three are the only ones I know the most out of them. I try my best to remember all the other ones, but they're mostly there for just, I guess, stopping the players, but that's pretty much just it. And so we get to see this as the Blue Lock players begin and practice for this team, as well as the under 20 team are also practicing and also announcing that they're going to probably win against the Blue Lock team. This team is supposed to be built to stop the Blue Lock team because that Burotsuta, the guy that's the leader behind this, wants to stop Ego's project because of how much money he's being used for funding this. And so after a few weeks pass by, we're here at the event, and I really, really love the background art for this one because I really like how Isagi and everybody else are all going into the battlefield in the beginning. And so we started off. The Blue Lock team begin with a triangle formation to be able to go after them. However, the formation ends up getting stopped when they get over to the goal, and they're being stopped by the best defender in the Blue Lock series, Akainu. Akainu is definitely well known for his incredible, I guess, height. He's able to jump up and be able to stop the ball from any distance, and he's the best at defending the ball, and so he stops them, and then eventually the Blue Lock team have to pick another formation. They try to use the triangle formation again, but they end up stopping them. And so Rin and Isagi all end up teaming up with the other players to be able to take them down. Nagi tries his best. They give the ball to Nagi, but he ends up not being able to succeed properly and gets ends up getting stopped. Akainu then passes it over to Sai, and Sai completely shows why he's a world class elite because apparently, Rin knows that Sai is his brother, which those two are brothers, of course. And Sai ends up seeing exactly how powerful he really is. He shows how strong he is. He's able to make incredible passes, a heel pass, and also being able to pass it over to Sendo to get off a goal. But of course, Gagamaru ends up stopping it by being able to punch the ball away with this Gagamaru punch. And so Sai ends up going over to the angle part of goes over to the rear of the goal and ends up basically kicking and performing off a goal with no angle or nothing, and ends up scoring the first goal for the under 20 team. He ends up explaining to everybody that he had 3 chances to get a goal, but they all missed out on it. The second kickoff begins with Ren and Isagi basically dominating the entire field by passing it over to each other back and forth and being able to get through the defenses, as well as they end up pulling off a heel pass. Rin pulls off a heel pass over to Bachida, who he ends up basically waiting for both Isagi and Rin to start going into the front lines to stop the defenders. Isagi gets stopped by a Kainu, and then Bachida ends up passing it all the way over to Rin. Rin tries to pull off the same kick that his brother did, but ends up failing. Then the ball goes over to Yuki Miya, and the same person that tries to stop him from I guess being able to pull off a single attack ends up basically coming back. Isagi ends up helping Yukimi by pulling off a jamming action by faking the passing and being able to land off another kick to the goal. But Akainu ends up stopping it. And then one of the under 20 members tried to stop it, but then Otsuya ends up coming over to get the ball and kick it. They end up stopping it again, and the ball goes over to Nagi. Nagi then pulls off easily one of my favorite goals in all of Blue Lock. He stops the shooting formation, kills it off by doing a lift tap and then into a jumping turn and announcing the world that he is Nagi Seishido and gives Blue Lock 11 the first goal and the first point of the team of the entire match. And eventually, Nagi raises his fist up with the "I'm still standing" pose and being able to show to everybody exactly how powerful of a striker he is. Then the third kickoff begins, and the Blue Lock team is trying to pull off another. The under 20 team is trying to pull off another formation with this as well, and they end up being able to stop them, and they give the ball over to Rin. Rin ends up trying to pull off an incredible, I guess, shot by being able to realize that he's a right, but eventually Akainu does realize that Ren is also a right-handed person. He mostly kicks with his right foot, but he realizes that he sucks with his left foot because he doesn't have any good experience with it. And so Rin ends up moving his right foot away to pull off a curve shot and be able to score the second goal for the Blue Lock team. Eventually, the under 20 team ends up basically trying their best to keep moving forward, but they eventually barely got any points for the first half of it, only with Sai scoring. I told you people, this under 20 team is sorry as heck. This is why the Japan needs to have some egoists. This team could barely even score a single point on their own without Sai. After the first half finishes, Sai was planning on leaving because Akainu made a bet with Sai saying that if they win without Shido, that they're trying their best to be able to win this battle without Shido. And so Sai is about to leave and he realized that the Blue Lock 11s are just way better than them because they know exactly what they want to do. They're all about scoring. They want to get a goal. While these people are just about stopping and making the battles even more longer than expected, but they're not about really getting any goals. If they were, then who's out there trying to catch a goal? Until eventually they have no choice but to substitute a player out for Shido. And Shido ends up teaming up with Sai to be able to pull off some incredible passes too, and incredibly well done goals too. The second half begins, and the Blue Lock team basically ends up trying their best to be able to take on the under 20 team now with Shido. Shido stops every single pass that they get. Nico tries to stop Shido, but Shido ends up basically getting a chance to, score an amazing goal because Sai ends up being able to give him an amazing pass. Chiggity tries to stop the ball from coming over here to him, but eventually Chiggity couldn't reach it, and then Shido had no choice but to be able to pull off the free kick. Yes, the free kick was for Sai, and Shido ends up kicking and pulling off the most insane goal ever, the Dragon Drive. Basically, he just kicks with his right leg and he pulls off a corner and he pulls off a curve shot to the top left part of the goal, which ends up scoring and tying with the Blue Lock team as the under 20 team now has 2 points. Now Shido is able to pull off even more incredible plays with them, and Sai ends up again helping him by being able to pull off another move with him. Sai pulls off a super long pass to the goal. Shido is the only person who runs over there instinctively and tries to get the goal. Gagamaru pulls off a header since he was away from the goal, but eventually Shido goes into the flow state. Yes, Shido is the first person to enter the flow state, and he pulls off one of the most insane kicks ever and the most insane goals he's ever pulled off, the Big Bang Drive, which is just a bicycle kick at this point. And so with that final hit, Shido ends up overscoring the entire Blue Lock team, and the under 20 team is now in the lead by 3 points, with 3 points. And so Isagi has no choice but to go over to Ego, and he basically insults Ego and tells him to help him win their this ego that you all helped with him get. And so Ego said that they're gonna go with a formation that he has absolutely no chance of what will turn out for this. They end up substituting out a bunch of players. Shigiri ends up getting substituted out with with I think probably Hiyori. Yes, Hiyori gets substituted out with Shigiri, and Shigiri is a little sad to see that he had to go down that way. But Ego tells him if you want to be able to not get substituted, have a body strong enough to be able to keep running. And so the next person that they switch out was Otoya, and he swaps out with none other than the GOAT himself, Shuhei Bado, otherwise known as the Joker for the team. Bado ends up switching with Otoya to be able to win, and they begin the next part of the team. Also, uh, also with that, Nico ends up also changing with Rayo as well. I forgot to mention Rayo also gets substituted as well with them since Nico ended up getting injured. He had to substitute with Rayo to be able to move on. Rayo tries his best to stop everybody, but to be honest, he barely did much either way. All he did was but he does do a little bit with this match though. Rayo ends up the next kickoff begins, and Sai ends up trying to pull off an amazing pass again to be able to give it to Shida so he can score again. Gagamaru stops it, and Rayo pulls off the same move that Nagi did to be able to stop the ball from going over to the goal. Nagi gets the ball, and they all end up going with the play to help with Isagi. Bado is also helping too. Bado is an amazing one person that's able to take on the team and be able to take on the under 20 team by himself because he's able to pull off two chop dribbles on the teams, and not only that, his main goal is to basically just take on anybody that tries to stop Isagi from shooting as well. They go for a formation where they're passing the ball over to Isagi, and Sai ends up realizing this because I guess he's pretty good at reading the field as well. Sai stops Isagi from trying to pass and from scoring a goal on his own until Rin ends up trying to tell him to look at him to be able to pass it over to him. But Kainu ends up stopping him, and so the only person left that we were able to see was Bado, and he pulls off the most insane goal kick ever and has the best victory screen I've ever seen. Trust me, no, y'all could argue with me, but he has the best screen ever. And with that, Blue Lock is tied with the under 20 team. And for the last final bit of it, they try their best to be able to take on the rest of the under 20 team. Sai proves to everybody why he's an incredibly powerful person, and Rin has no choice but to be able to find out why he's that powerful. Let's go over these two backstories first for both characters. For Akainu, let's go with his backstory. Akainu was well known for being a really powerful, egoistic person like Isagi, but eventually, Isagi and Akainu had two separate lives. Isagi was at Blue Lock, but Akainu was basically if Isagi wasn't in Blue Lock. because he was forced into a position where he had to work with a team. It's all about teamwork, and he ended up not doing so good with this. And so eventually, Akainu ends up basically going through a lot of things and had to speak with the people with the teams and being just a team player, just a defender, not a striker. Because of Japan's dumb idealistic way of teamwork, he wasn't able to become a striker and was only focused about working with a team. And so that's why. Now for Rin and Sai is a really emotional story. Rin and Sai were both brothers, and Sai is Rin's older brother and Rin's, well, his little brother. Eventually, Sai ends up teaming up with his team from school, his soccer team for school, and he saw how powerful of a player Rin was possibly going to be. Those two were incredibly good players. Sai passes the ball over, and Rin's able to pull off amazing curve shots. And so Sai ends up trying his best to be able to test his luck and take on people from outside of Japan and goes over to Spain. And so eventually, Rin has to be stuck here in Japan, taking on his place as the second best player here in Japan. And so eventually, Sai comes back from Spain, and it looks like he's lost a lot of weight here. And he tells to Rin that he met a lot of strong players back in Spain. And so he's going to be thinking that the best thing that he wants to do is to become the best midfielder, and Rin becomes the best striker. Rin wasn't having any of that and completely called him out for this crap, saying that you two that he made a promise to him that those two will become the best players together in Japan. And so eventually Rin and Sai go up battle each other for their dreams. Sai ends up beating Rin and proving to Rin that, listen, I don't want to be a striker anymore because of the stuff that happened here. And he lost his ego. Eventually, he tells to Rin that, listen, don't ever use me as an excuse to play soccer anymore, because Rin was using him as an excuse to be able to keep playing soccer. Sai forces Rin to quit a little bit, but then Rin ends up thinking and having an emotional breakdown back at his home, saying that all those memories of him playing with Sai was not fake, and saying that he lives now to destroy and crush Sai Itoshi's dreams and his life. And so with that, he believes that he's always by himself. But because of Rin and because of Isagi and all the other members there, it pisses him off and he ends up entering his float state now. His flow state, he ends up dominating the entire under 20 team, trying to score a goal, but then misses. And then eventually Sai and him have a battle the entire time. Sai and him try their best to be able to get the ball. Sai's about to pass it over to Shido until Rin stops the pass. Akainu tries to jump and get the ball. It fails. The only person left that was actually able to see that pass was none other than the MC himself, Isagi. And with that, Isagi, with with the ball near the goal, he pulls off a direct shot and helping the Blue Lock team win the entire second half, and they end up winning and becoming the replacement for the under 20 team. Now they will be the ones to represent for the under 20 World Cup, and Blue Lock Project still lives on. Ego is also happy as he puts his fist down, realizing that he did it. His project is finally coming to fruition. And so afterwards, Rin ends up talking with Sai and being able to realize that Sai wasn't praising him, but he was praising Isagi being the striker that will change off Japan. And so they all celebrate. The Bullock team celebrates by having an amazing dinner. Isagi tells to Rin to thank him. He thanks Rin for basically helping him, but Rin isn't having any of that and tells him to go kill himself and tells him that from now on, you are going to be my rival. You are my rival now, Isagi. I will kill you and crush you myself, you and Sai. And Isagi tells him to go ahead and try. And afterwards, we get to see from the Blue Lock wildcard training that Kunigami is here. And not only that, we also end up getting to see that a lot of other teams from other regions are going to be participating in the Blue Lock project too, with the next part happening, of course, being the Neo Egoist League, and a specific and mysterious character will also be there as well. Overall, this arc was easily one of my favorite arcs ever. I give this arc a 10 out of 10 rating. This is my favorite arc in all of Blue Lock, and I love this arc a lot. I will make sure I will not be covering the Neo Egoist League arc. I am sorry. That arc is over 150 chapters long, and I might not be able to make an amazing video with that one. But I might make it if this video comes out and I will be getting, I guess, a few likes, and also if the video gets 100 views, if this Blue Lock video gets 100 views, I will be making the Neo Egoist League arc. I will make a video about it, but this is going to be the last video I make for this summer. So if you guys want to be able to help me make this video, then please make sure you leave a like and make sure you help me get to 100 subscribers and 100 views. If that happens, I will make the Blue Lock video possible for the Neo Egoist League. And now, thank you so much for watching this video. I had a lot of fun with this too, with this brand new mic and my webcam helping me with this video. I was able to make the best video I could possibly be. Now, excuse and play my intro, please. My outro.